All right, we're forming a casing. A casing is an opening where you add elastic or a drawstring of some sort. It's just an opening where you can have that in. So to do that and make sure that it's the right width, because a lot of times people will sew it too small and then they can't fit it in, or it's so big that this just kind of slides around. Start by preparing your fabric. Fold it over 1/4 of an inch. You'll need to use a seam gauge to measure that and press it down. Once you have that pressed, we're going to sew this down at 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch is the inside toe of your presser foot. So we're just barely sewing down that flap. Ta-da. All right, now that we have it sewn, we need to know how far we need to fold it over for the next part to make sure that our elastic is going to be covered in there. We don't want it to be all over the place where in some place it's too short or in some place too long, so we're going to use measurements and your seam gauge to make sure it's consistent the whole way. I have 1 inch elastic here that I'm using, so our formula is going to be the width of your elastic plus 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to be folding this over 1 1/4 of an inch. You can either pin that at that point or press it as you go, but make sure that this is measuring 1 1/4 at each interval through the casing. So once you have it folded over 1 1/4 of an inch, we are going to sew on top of our clean finish line, again at 1/8. So we're going to line it on the inside toe of the left, on the left side, and we're going to sew over that again. Make sure that this is pinned. A lot of times when you start to sew on it, it wants to stretch and go different directions. So make sure that it is secure. All right, trim off any extra threads. Don't need hairy projects. And our next step is to thread our elastic through. You're gonna take a safety pin and attach a safety pin to the end of your elastic. Close it up. Then you're gonna fish that elastic and the safety pin through the casing. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to get it started, a little bit hard to finish it. But what you're going to do is just kind of bunch it up on the safety pin. You don't need to do the whole thing all at once. And then you're just pulling the fabric over the elastic. And you just keep working that safety pin towards the other end. So bunch it up, pull it straight. And once you can get it to come out the other side, make sure that it is flat, it's not twisted. That's how you make a casing.